welcome back to the channel. Hobby-Wan Kenobi here. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. This is the Trumpeter kit, and here's the interior so far. I've got some weathering on it. I did a wash, did a little bit of very little bit of oil work. I'm going to do a little bit more, I think, just to get it weathered appropriately. I do want to get a little bit of like dirt and dust kind of caked on around here. But it's pretty much ready to go. You can see I've got the engine. The engine won't be seen much, but I wanted to do as much as I could. Basically in fear that it will be somewhat visible, at least through the mesh Photo-Etch parts that they provide. So I wanted to just do as good as I can, but without spending too much time on it. I didn't do any sort of super detailing or anything like that. I just painted it and weathered it a bit. So that's where we're at there. And we're at the point now where I'm going to start doing a bit of a wash on some of these extra pieces. These pieces were a few steps further down in the instructions, and I decided to go ahead and wait on them while I was getting everything together. So now I'm at the point now where I need to start weathering them and then get them installed as well. As usual, I like to use Terpenoid, which is an odorless thinner. Gonna take some here, drop in this little cap. Okay, and I'm going to cut it just slightly with just a little bit of white. That should be enough. Good, and this might actually be a little too light. I think that'll be okay now. All right, we'll go with it. So I'm just going to apply it rather liberally. All of these parts have been painted and have received a gloss coat. As you can see, just brushing it on. No big deal. Make sure it gets in the crevices. And then it can be on the gun as well. I might actually go over the gun with some black, straight black wash. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to apply it to the floor as well. You'll notice some pin marks back here. I didn't worry about them because they're not going to be seen on the vehicle. I don't waste my time dealing with pin marks if they're not going to be seen. I will deal with them if they are going to be seen though. To me, that's one of the most basic fixes you can do on a model. Aside from dealing with the seams, you got to take care of the pin marks. Nothing will make your model feel like, well, look like a model than just leaving those pin marks. So these seat belts are Photo-Etch that came with the kit. I don't often like to use Photo-Etch seat belts. I think they typically look just like little strips of metal, which is not what they're supposed to look like. They should look like fabric. But I was actually pleased with how these turned out, so we're going to stick with them and not worry too much. Okay, and I went ahead and put a toothpick at the top here just so I can work with it fairly easily. Okay, there you have it. I've applied the wash. What we'll do is let this dry. Okay, here we are. The seats have dried a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and take off some of this wash. And for this, I'm going to use a Q-tip. Okay, so I'm just trying to take off the major surfaces. I'll worry about the details in just a moment here, and I'll use probably a paintbrush for that. And as you can see, I'm leaving, by wiping away at the surfaces very gently, it's just leaving the wash inside the little crevices. And that's all there is to it. Okay, let's stay with this one here, and I'm going to use a brush. Let's go ahead and use this one. Okay, so now I'm just going to just kind of sweep it around. There we go. See, it's moving around pretty well in here, which means it's probably a little bit wet. So let's go ahead and hold off on that one still. Let's go to the second one here. And again, try to just take off most of what we can on the larger surfaces. You could also decide that you want to leave quite a bit of it for weathering purposes, and that's absolutely fine too. I like to think of this as sort of serving two purposes. One is accentuating details by creating shadows, artificial shadows. And the other is really also, this acts as weathering. All right, here we go. It's looking pretty good. I do a kind of a combination of brush. Yeah, you can see it's starting to come up a little bit. I'm a little worried about that. But that gives you a good idea as to what we're doing here. And you can see their shadows and all these little buckles, and that's good. And then we'll put a flat coat, and it'll make it all. It won't be shiny anymore, which is what we want as well. And then I can continue weathering with the flat coat. I'll probably use pastels. I may also use continue to use oils. Oils can be used for weathering after the washes. All right, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. Please hit subscribe and hit that bell to get notifications of future videos. Bye.